Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined tonight only by Mike Jones.
Yay, we're going to the fair tonight.
Yeah, it's coming up here. It's coming up.
Mm.
And so I put up these things here. We've got a report from the fairgrounds manager, Mary Grove. She is still the fairgrounds manager for a little while, and then she's going to be replaced by another lady, and then she'll be helping her out for a while. But we've got some news this evening. First, some news outside of the inner workings of county government. Mike, tell us a little bit, for those who have been under a rock or something, what happened with Hillary Clinton and those emails? What was that controversy about Hillary Clinton and emails?
Yes, so newsflash: we're expanding into international politics.
Yeah, we're going to bring it on home.
Yes, that's right. Yes, we're going to. We're not doing very well ratings wise, so we're going to go worldwide.
That's
now.
not right. We are doing very well, as a matter of fact, but we're going to put it in perspective, in a national perspective to begin with.
Ah, yes. Okay. Well, for those who don't know, as Dale mentioned, if you're living under a rock somewhere, then you don't know anything about Hillary Clinton's emails and why. Why is this a controversy that Hillary Clinton had her own email server and directed a lot of her, State Department classified email through this unsecure server that we pretty much suspect that a lot of the world has been in and out of and has now intimate knowledge of what she was doing. Anyway, that's going out there. But the bottom line is that she was involved doing U.S. government business on a private server, and that email belongs to the United States, and she doesn't have a right to be having that email outside of what is a secure server. So anyway, people have been subpoenaing her emails for some time because they want answers about a few different things, and that's what's going on with her, and they're not having any luck.
Okay, so we're going to bring it a little bit closer. Tell us, Mike, if you will, about what's happened on a state basis with the previous governor, Governor Kitzhaber, with his girlfriend and emails.
Well, yeah, well, she was doing business using the her perks from her fiance to land large contracts and get a lot of money given to her, and they want her emails that I guess were, I'm not sure what the situation is with her email. If she was using official email accounts to be corresponding with people, I'm not really sure what the deal is, but right. I know
and as soon as
it's a similar situation to Hillary Clinton.
As soon as that ends up on a government email situation, it belongs to all of us. You can't say, well, this is my private email while you're paying the bill to put it on your government server. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so Mike, more. Yes. We're getting just a little bit closer. Tell us what happened, please, with Lane County and those commissioners in Lane County who are making decisions via email.
Yeah. Well, apparently they were talking to each other using email to correspond. They're not supposed to do that, just so you know, that when you see the commissioners in the little back room videos, that's when they're authorized to meet and talk to one another. Also, when they're in the ambassador, that's when they're authorized to meet and talk to one another about policy. They're not supposed to be emailing each other, having little conversations through email. It's all supposed to be above board and on the record. Well, apparently they weren't. They were doing that. They were corresponding via email and making decisions, and apparently they got sued, and apparently they lost a lot of money as a county, and apparently also and correct me if I'm wrong here, Dale, but some of these commissioners actually had to pay some fines out of their own pocket.
$20,000 out of their own pocket.
Yeah.
Each. Okay, so we've been told before when we asked a question about getting emails here locally, finally, locally, by Cheryl Walker. She says, well, I keep my private emails on our county's server. And I don't want those going out to everybody. And it would take so much time and effort for somebody in the IT department, information technology department, to go through and pick one at a time, which is okay and which is not okay for you to see, you citizens, that it'll never happen because we'll never have enough people to be able to spend time sifting through my personal email that's on your government server. So
right.
that
sounds very familiar because that's exactly the argument that Hillary Clinton has made. It's, a lot of these emails are about Chelsea's wedding plans and all of this kind of stuff. And so how wrong is it for me to have to go through, or for people to see that would not be right? Well, listen, I think most of us, I know that if I were a commissioner, I certainly wouldn't be having private correspondence on my the address that had to do with that job, because I mean there wouldn't be any reason to do that. I have other email addresses that I can use for private email, and they come right to my phone. Why would I need to? Why would that be connected with my business email? It wouldn't at all.
So why would, I'm going to tell you about, I get to tell you what we did today, but I'm going to ask Mike one more question about this. Mike, what are the kinds of things?
I'm being interrogated here.
Yes, sir, but you know all the answers. You know he does. What are the kinds of things that we'd be likely to see if we did have access as the law requires?
Well, I don't know because we have to presume innocence here, and that these people are operating 100% above board.
This is a court of public opinion. So, since he doesn't want to answer, he's refusing to answer.
Oh, wow. Your Honor, I'd like permission to treat the witness as a hostile witness.
I'm not the witness, you are.
Oh.
Okay, are you being hostile now? Okay, Mike, what are we likely to see in emails that are coming into Cheryl or Keith Eck or Simon Hare? Certainly there would be some emails from their buddies. Okay, expect that.
That they have been talking to one another about, what do we want to do about this tomorrow?
We caught this on tape. Cheryl was passing a note to Keith saying, what the way that she wants to vote. And she said later, well, I did that just so he'd know how I intend to vote. But that's illegal.
Yes, and that is the point, isn't it?
You see, that was why I did it. Cheryl, what are you doing? You're admitting.
Well, you know what? No, this goes back to them living in their own bubble, because in their world, hey, there's nothing wrong with this stuff. Get off my back.
So here's what we did today. You're either going to love this or you're going to hate it. I think most of you watching this show are going to love it. Mike and I went down to the county courthouse today, and we went up to the commissioner's office, and we also gave copies to Wally Hicks, the legal counsel for the county, and we put in a request for information on all three commissioners, each of them individually, asking for copies of electronically of all their emails so far this year. Drum roll, please.
Well, a drum roll is usually followed by results somehow. We don't have that.
Well, what? So, what do you think is actually going to happen? First, Cheryl will go back to this thing of, well, that can't possibly be done. Of course,
right. No, I expect that it'll be stonewalled, and that's what I expect.
Yeah, but good luck with the reason we came in through national is good luck with this thing because the president, the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, she had to do it. She's going to run for president. The governor had to do it. His girlfriend had to do it. Lane County had to do it. We've got a precedent in Oregon that you have to do this. You cannot do that. You can't say, hey, that's all private. No, it's not. No, it's
Yeah,
not.
well, I just got done. I mean, literally before I walked in this room, I was watching a news report where they were saying that Hillary Clinton has claimed that she's given up all of her emails, and somebody was there saying no, she hasn't. And so, and how long's that situation been going on? Years at
But,
this
but but
point.
but what has Cheryl Walker said? She's refused. She hasn't said I've given them all. She said I'm not going to give them to you at all. In fact, there's not
Yes.
enough time in the day. There's not a time in the year for us to weed through this. You're not supposed to weed through them. Well, I'll just delete
Yeah.
them. You're not allowed to delete them.
I wonder if she's destroying her private server with a sledgehammer right now.
You know what? They might actually be doing that because the guy that's in charge of IT was handpicked by Cheryl Walker. How much do you want to bet that the shredding, electronic shredding, is taking place now or tomorrow or the next day, and that they're going to have an emergency meeting with Wally Hicks? Hey, how do we fight this? Why are you fighting this? It's the state law. Why are you fighting this? It's the honest thing to do. Why are you keeping private emails? What do you think people are going to find? There's nothing to find, right?
Yeah. um, so in the Lane County case where they got busted, having these, obviously somebody came in and did the exact same thing that we just did, right?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
And these guys, like Nixon and the tapes, didn't have enough sense, or they weren't wily enough to get rid of things. And so,
I always kind of chuckle when they say somebody wasn't smart enough to be evil and do the wrong thing.
well, they're smart enough to be evil to do the wrong thing that we're looking for anyway. We know.
Well, we
Okay.
don't know.
No,
We
no,
don't
no,
know
no.
that.
There is
Okay,
something that we know. No, no, I'm going to disagree with you. There is something that we know
I'm
because we
presuming innocence.
no, because we've heard them discuss this at the meetings. Did you get that email I sent you about? Oh, yeah, I sure did, and I sure agree with you. Wait a minute. What do you mean you sure agree with her? You can't be agreeing with her. You're not supposed to be. And Simon will say, well, yeah, did you get the email? Yeah, I got it, but I didn't read it. Well, you didn't read it? He says, no, we're not supposed to. He knows that it's wrong. They know that it's wrong. And as Keith X said, the motto of this commissioner group is, I know we're breaking the law and I don't care.
Right. Yeah. Well.
So we have now officially, badcounty.com, Mike and Dale and Mike, we've officially put in the request. We want the emails. That's all. That's all. No, and we don't want them on paper form because I don't want to pay $1,000 for these things. We just want, and Mike, tell us as the last part of this opening part of the show, boy, this is taking a while. How much effort is it to take that information and send it to us, or take that info? We'll set up a special email address. You can send it there, or take that information and put it on a CD. How much effort is that?
It isn't that much effort because listen, the IT people are dealing with archiving of emails all the time. I mean, it's probably a big part of what they do. And so this really wouldn't be any problem at all. You're just asking for this year. I mean, that's not a big deal. I don't think that's hard at all. It's a drag and drop, I'm sure they have software that's set up that just for archiving emails and moving them around from one place to another. So,
well, once you say copy this from this to another, do you need to sit there and look at the computer for hours while it's doing
well,
this?
I'm sure that they will tell you that however long that it takes, it took many, many hours for us to copy these emails from here to that CD or whatever.
That's
But
just
but
not
but
true.
here's the thing. I understand that email does not take up a whole lot of space, unless it's loaded with attachments. And I mean, if it's got a bunch of pictures or whatever, that's where your bulk comes in. But text is nothing.
We know what
I
we're talking about because we do high definition video and put it out there and put it on the Google server or the YouTube server. We're doing this all the time. We're uploading it. We're downloading stuff. We're constantly doing that. We do know what it, but when I set something, I've got a computer right over here. When I set this to chunk away and figure out how to make this the highest quality so that we can give it to you, once I set it going, I go away from it. I mean, it's over my shoulder, but I don't need to be looking at it and looking at it. That's not necessary. You just
right.
set it to go and it
Yeah,
does it.
and what we're talking about here is a much lower, you know, requirement in terms of processing than what Dale is talking about dealing with high definition audio or video. I once. And this is back in the days where, you know, we still had 1.44 meg floppies in our computers, if you can remember back that far, you know, 90s. I was required every day to write a report of what I did, you know, in cruising around San Francisco working on electrical on billboards. And so I had to write 2 or 3 paragraphs. I kept an entire year's worth of logs on one 1.4 meg floppy. So in terms of text hardly takes up anything. But you know, when you get into video and pictures and stuff like that, that's where you get, you know, a lot of data. So this is not a difficult operation. I'm sure that there are probably some attachments involved here.
But you could put 3 years that they've been in office. We're not asking for 3 years. We're just asking since January. You could put, since we've been doing the show, January 1, you could put 3 years on this little thumb drive with
yes,
room to spare for 2 more years. Easy.
Easily. As a matter of fact, I think that you could fit most of that on a CD, which is about 700 megs.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking a DVD. A DVD goes up to 4 gigs that you could put on there, and that would be way more than what is necessary for.
Well, you figured now. Okay, so one last thing for you. So it's just 4 gigs. 4 gigs. Okay, so there's 1,000. Okay, then there's a megabyte. Sorry for those of you who know, that's 1,000,000 bytes. And then there's a gigabyte, which is 1,000 million. And then, but I have right next to me a 4 terabyte drive. I go through these about once every 2 months, and that's 4,000 million. And I go through those with our videos about once every couple of months. Okay, so we're not talking about that. And even if I were to back that whole thing up, that would take a couple of hours. So don't tell me.
Yeah, no, this is, it doesn't require a whole lot at all. I remember when I was probably 17, and we went to San Jose and we visited my cousin. This is my father and myself went and visited him. My dad wanted to talk to him about some project that he wanted to do, and he wondered if computers were capable of doing what it was he was wanting to do. And he took us to the company where he worked, and he took us up to, you know, took us through the whole facility. But the thing that I remember the most is we walked up to this thing. It looked like a square, about the size of a trash can. And it had it was square though. And it had a glass top.
Yeah.
And inside of it was a big silver disc, and it was spinning around. He was
a lot like this thing right here.
Yes, something like that. And he explained to us that that's 40 megabytes.
Wow.
And he was explaining what 40 megabytes was, and our minds were
40 million.
You know? And about 5 years later, I was buying a 40 megabyte hard drive for my home computer thinking, there's no way I'm ever going to fill this because I have just as much as he had back then. Oh, yeah.
And this little thing right here, or I got another one here that looks sort of like, this is on loan from somebody, that it looks sort of like a hippopotamus when you get in real close to it. And this little tiny thing on a key fob, this 40 megabytes, gee, I mean, this is like 40 gigabytes. This is like like 40,000 megabytes on this tiny little thing here.
Yes. Now, if there are any non-tech savvy people watching this,
They're long gone.
they're sawing logs right now.
Goodbye. Hey, I thought this was going to
Yes.
be about the fair. Okay, it is going to be
Yes.
about now. I was looking for pictures that I could put up of Mary Groves. Mary Groves, the current fair manager. And the only one that I could find, this is awful. This was put up by the Kiwanis Club. This is just not fair. I'm not going to leave this up, Mary, because I like Mary. That's it? Really? That's the best we can do?
Yeah.
That's awful. She looks really angry about something, and she looks like one of the commissioners in a bad mood.
She's looking right at you, Dale.
Well, no. We have a better relationship with that. So instead of that dizzy kind of thing, I'm going to put up this dizzy kind of thing. Okay, so if there are many wonderful lights and many sounds and lots of smells. Some of it might be throw up, but there's lots of smells when you're at the fair, and especially at night. The fair is just a cacophony of sounds and lights, and it's beautiful. Okay, it's beautiful. But until you get down to the inner workings of the thing, kind of like county government, it looks like, oh, well, that's not so bad. Until you visit some of the carnies, the guys that are running these things, and they're not so beautiful, and they don't live very much of a beautiful life. And remember, they're often underneath this, so you can just imagine the kind of stuff that's showering down upon them. And I don't just mean soft drinks. I mean, kids are throwing up, and younger kids are doing other stuff, and it's not so nice. Okay, and they're running at the cranky old thing. They're not going to keep this. They try to keep it from falling apart, but you think you get down there and you listen to this guy, gears are grinding and things aren't working right, and the other things are slapping back and forth. It's not so wonderful. Well, occasionally when we go to county commissioners meetings, we hear some of the inner workings. So if you don't want to hear the inner workings of what's happening at the fairgrounds, now is a good time to tune into something else and watch, National Geographic Channel, and you can watch, lions eating other lions, or you can watch pelicans eating fish, or something where they're tearing each other apart limb from limb. You won't quite see that in this county commissioners meeting, but there are some parts of it where we went, oh, I didn't really know that kind of stuff was happening at the fairgrounds. So we have a video for you. And it's not awful, but it's good news, and bad news from the fairgrounds. Go ahead, Mike.
We can figure out a way to put more people out there, safely. It's just crazy how many people.
Yeah, there's probably usually about 5,000 to 6,000 people just out there all around the things watching the monster trucks. Yeah. Friday and Saturday night is always big. All these things. And that's why I thought I'd bring up something a little different. So we had maybe Thursday night open out there and bring them into the Knights of the Realm. We had to do it in the covered arena because they ride right up to the rails and talk to you. And, yeah. So it'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Something new to try. Okay, so we are getting ready for the fair. This is what's coming up. We have tons of vendors and all kinds of things. The fairground should be pretty well cram-packed, so it'll be a good event.
Okay.
All right.
So first of all, just so that you know, in case you didn't know about Grants Pass, about Josephine County, we love monster trucks. It's not my favorite thing, but boy, oh boy, as she pointed out, it's just cram-packed full of people who want to watch monster trucks.
All right.
But here's an interesting thing. This is wildly popular. And why would you want to fight against the trend here? So she wants to bring in something different. I like Mary, but if monster trucks is successful one night, heck, have it 2 nights. Have it every other night. No.
Yes, have different types of monster trucks.
Exactly. Have different colors. Have a theme night. Oh, red monster trucks tonight. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to bring in something else. Okay, but why are we going to bring in something else when this is so wildly successful? I mean, it's not like there are people who would go every night, but I mean, couldn't you have it like on a Monday and a Thursday? Hey, don't forget to come back Thursday and we'll see who's now, no, you don't want to do that? Okay. So they're going to try something different, which is nice, except really, do we have to have something different? Give you an example. So before Mike got involved, I was going to some of these parades and stuff and videotaping. And there were people who said, well, don't point out to the crowd. People are just going to wave. Yeah. Well, they're just trying to get on camera. Yeah. Well, that's just not. Hey. If they want to wave and be on camera, and then we play back a video of people waving, hey, don't forget to watch tonight's show. You're going to be waving at the camera. Great. What's your problem?
I see none.
No, you should only point at the parade. No. People enjoy seeing themselves. Hey, don't forget, Grandma, to watch. You're going to see all the 4 kids there. Great. So what's your problem with this, you guys? So if you like monster trucks, they're okay, I suppose. And that's what turns you on. And that's what we want in Grants Pass. Well, here in Ashland, we'd rather see a display of decorative candles. Oh, get out. Okay. We like monster trucks. So just get over it and have monster trucks every dang night if that's what makes people happy. What's your problem?
Right, we're just a bunch of uncultured hicks here.
Hey, as long as it packs the place with 5,000 people.
Yes, I thought the objective here, at least, listen, I've listened to a few of these meetings. The objective is to make a profit.
Right? I'm an American. I like that idea. Okay, I'm not putting her down. Oh, for heaven's sakes, let's try something new. Why, let's have a display of decorative cabbage. And then people could also talk about being a vegan, which nothing wrong with being a vegan. And it doesn't exactly match with monster trucks. But why are you bucking the trend here? Why are you saying, well, we're going to introduce you to something. Why, we're going to have la, 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 la. What? No, that's not going to pull in 5,000 people. Whatever. Yes. Please yourself. Okay. Play the next clip, would you, Mike?
The Cow Creek and the Viancla Indians and Seven Feathers made us a $5,000 cash donation that we can use for whatever we want. But they will be sponsoring the music stage, so they'll be right up front. So, and it came actually through some special networking, finding the right people to get a hold of and getting a letter up to them and getting a sponsorship. They don't do grants, they do sponsorships for fairs. Mm-hmm. So it's learning all those things that you figure out. Good. So,
so what, they want to do, these Indian tribes want to do a sponsorship for what? For the music stage, which is fine. Oh, that's fine. This is part of the good news. Okay, they're going to do that, but don't say that they're a sponsor. I mean, don't say they're a donator. They're not a donator. They're buying ad space. They want to put up a thing saying Cow Creek Indians are cool. All right, whatever. Right. And that's what's the difference, though? I mean, who cares what they call it?
Because there's a little bit of a difference between a donor, like the Rotary Club. Okay, nice things about them. They donate. Terrific. Okay, but a donator saying, hey, look, we think that you're doing a wonderful thing. Here's some money. We're donating it to you. Here's a grant. But don't call them a donator when they're actually a sponsor. This is actually a good news thing. It's just a tiny little deal. There's no need to exaggerate. They are not.
There's that Dale Matthews. He's nitpicking everything again.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm happy that they're sponsoring it. That's terrific. They're not donating. They're not just, and you're going to hear this repeated, another thing where the person did not donate their time. They sold the time dearly to us. But okay, go to the next one, Mike, please.
Okay.
It's kind of sad to report that the first time in years we won't have lion burgers at the fair. The club has given up since they can't seem to recruit younger members, and they've aged out, basically. It's really sad. Fred has just been a great guy, but they're going to turn that booth over this year to New Hope Christian School, and they'll use their things in it, and then they'll sell off whatever they need to out of their booth after that. So. Kind of a sad thing. We've always had lion burgers at the fair. Yep. But we've got a lot of people who do sell burgers at the fair, so.
What I don't understand is how the clubs, the schools like Hidden Valley and North Valley and IB, I think that they barely make money, which I just don't understand how.
They make money.
They've got to. I mean,
They have
But
expenses.
the Hidden Valley FBLA in charge of it. It seemed like they'd be able to make money.
Hidden Valley is always very, very well.
Okay, so the Lions Club is no longer going to make Lions burgers, and instead, it's going to be, and as Diane Mackin pointed out in social media, she's always like, "You guys are always so critical. I look forward to those greasy burger." Hey, you know, that's a little critical there, Diane. But so instead of getting Lions burgers for the first time in many, many years, it's going to be turned over to New Hope Christian School, and I just couldn't avoid the little joke that Lions give up to Christians.
Well, you know, I mean, probably one of the reasons couldn't keep it up anymore is because, especially due to recent events, lion meat's probably getting pretty expensive.
Ha ha! And I thought you were going to, they couldn't keep it up anymore because they're getting too old. Look.
Oh, wow.
Well, isn't
Gee whiz. You know what?
But that's what she just said. She said they've aged out.
Yeah,
they can't get enough people to do it because that Lions Club, all their members are now gray. Go figure.
Right.
And probably got gray and spiky.
And nobody young wants to be part of the old fogies club. I get that. I totally get it. You know, they're just not hip anymore. You're going to have to come up with something that's a little more hip or something.
Oh, but
you know,
I was at a Lions Club meeting where they were talking about how they're going to get young people in. Okay, cool. You know, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have some music, maybe even some of this modern music. Whoa. And get this, we're going to serve Rice Krispie squares. And everyone's going, "Oh yeah." And guess what? They're going to have different colors. There'll be different colors of Rice Krispie squares. And they were like, "Oh boy, that's going to attract all kinds of young people." That was the plan.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you know, they just apparently don't understand. They should probably talk to some 12-year-olds to find out, you know, what they want. But and listen, this is a sad sign of the times. Is that kids congregate now virtually online. Kids at home has a headset on. He's playing video games. He's talking to some kid in South Korea that he's playing a game with. You know, and to lure those kids out to go to be together somewhere and do something with each other, that's a tough call nowadays.
You could transmit diseases to each other. Look, it is a balkanization of our society. It is that. But on the other hand, now that it's breaking apart, it pulls back together, and they probably know that kid in South Korea better than they know their next door neighbor. And they do have relationships.
Well, yeah, no, there isn't any question that they know some of these people that they play with all the time. Because my son, you know, was into that when he was at home. He'd spend, you know, some time playing video games, although he was a lot more active outside than most kids are nowadays. But yeah, you know, so you're going to have to think outside the box a little bit, and perhaps, you know, older people set in their ways are just not equipped to do that.
Well, one thing you know for sure, just in case you're, that's all bad, I don't like any of it. Just think about this, if nothing else, because you may be a little sensitive if you're a grandmother or grandfather, maybe a little sensitive about kids getting together and having sex. Oh no, not that. They can't possibly do that if they're online friends. Okay, so they're going to have to be a little bit intellectual, a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, no risk of any kind of diseases, like the plague that recently hit Yosemite. Oh my gosh.
Yes, that's terrible.
Yeah. Okay.
That would have been the top story tonight, but Dale killed the story.
Oh no, it's just because the picture. Well, it's
yes. Oh, now you're going to say what you wanted to avoid showing. So
no, we're not going to even show that picture. It's just a picture of the microbes, but the microbes are like, whoa. Really? Those are the microbes? Yeah. We'll talk about with you offline at some point. So, okay, play the next little clip there, Mike. It's good news and bad news from the county fair grounds.
We still have to settle up things with Sora. We had major breakdowns this year with the equipment that we loaned to them, and we're going to have to weigh those costs against loaning the equipment for next year. So the people they had building the tracks were really, really rough on our water truck especially. So, yeah, it's an older water truck, you have to treat it carefully.
Yeah.
If you don't stop it before you engage the PTO, well, it took out the pump in the driveline the first time and the driveline the second time. So we were gonna have some major negotiations of who's paying for what.
That's crazy.
Well, it wasn't only us, it was the grader that we have out there, this forestry's grader. They ruined the tire, had to go hunting for grader tires. It was just a lot of issues that came up during that whole thing.
Oh, and grader tires are cheap.
Oh, yeah. Well, I actually found a used grader tire, went to Medford to pick it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
For how much?
I actually spent $80 on it,
Oh,
but Schwab had to come and put it on for $175. So, yeah. So all those costs add up, and luckily, and it was one of Les Schwab's guys that found it for me on Craigslist.
It's square. It's square.
Yeah.
Well, and I actually have a line on another set of used grader tires. Tom that runs the grader for us out there, he's actually smoothing off stuff for us now. They want $1,000 for the set of 4. If I can get them for a lot less than that, 500, I'm gonna just buy them and put them away. Because some of us are gonna need them for that grader. And we'll be using that grader quite a bit more now, so that's fixed up. Horse racing and us are splitting some of the costs. We put some new tines on it. No servicing's been done on that grader. It doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the forestry, but if I'm gonna use it, I'm gonna fix it. Good. Peggy's gonna use it. Peggy's gonna fix it. I can say that.
So I think what that illustrates, Mike, more than anything else is it's not all good or bad. It's not all good, but it's not all bad either. So Southern Oregon Horse Racing Association, SORA, as they not Southern Oregon Resource Alliance, no, Southern Oregon Horse Racing Association, they are favored by the fairgrounds, of course, and they do lots of good things, but occasionally they do something that's kind of knuckleheaded. And so this is the reality of it. Oh, I don't like the reality. I only like to hear the good news.
Stop before you engage the PTO. Everybody knows that.
Boy, and they really goofed it up bad.
Well, and you know what? This shows that Mary is kind of frugal too, because she's shopping around on Craigslist for used tires for that thing. She's not being extravagant or nothing. It sounds prudent.
I like that. And the other side is, I like the guys at Les Schwab, but here you got an $80 tire, and then they charge you $175 to put it on the grader.
Well, yeah, but I mean, a grader tire. You know what we're talking about when we're talking about a grader tire? I mean,
and also they have to come to you. It's not like you're pulling in with
and they need equipment to lift the thing up and whatever. They're huge.
Of course they do. All right, what I'm trying to point out here is there's good
what
and there's
are
bad.
You trying to point out?
It's okay that there's good and there's bad, but living in a happy world where birds are tweeting and kittens are playing in the sunshine, that's just not reality. And so there's a little of both. It's kind of like the wonderful rides at night. Isn't that wonderful? But then you get a little closer to them, and they're not quite so wonderful when you get down there.
Listen, I'm going to confess something right here. I rarely go to the fair because, unfortunately, and this is just my opinion. Listen, I don't want to come off unpatriotic here, but to me, if you've been to one fair, you've been to all of these fairs. They seem to be pretty much the same thing.
You're against the founding fathers? Well, what's this unpatriotism?
Yes, that's what I said. Yes, I'm against the founding fathers. I abhor the Constitution.
There's a friend of ours it was the 4th of July, and I arranged to get a whole bunch of flags, those big American flags, and 100 people were going to stand at the fairgrounds and hold them up, and we were probably going to invite people down from the seats to come down and hold a flag while we all sang, the Star-Spangled Banner, and did the Pledge of Allegiance. Keith Heck has said he finds the Pledge of Allegiance just a little bit boring because it's kind of repetitive, and we don't need to do it at every meeting. We're going to do it at every meeting if we get new commissioners in there every meeting. But so I called this friend of mine and I said, so you want to come on down and hold the flag? Well, I don't know. I said, nope, totally understand. You can't spend the 5 minutes on this. People have given up their life and their blood to hold up a flag.
Yes.
But then again, you can't be bothered. I understand that, to spend 5 minutes holding it up for Old Glory.
You know what? And now you've hit one of my pet peeves here.
Yes, go ahead.
On Facebook, you see these pictures that people put up, and it says, only 1 in every 5 people will repost this. And it's, insinuating, of course, that if you don't repost this, that, you hate children with cancer. And you're, I mean, it's one of those things. I hate those things. I will not repost one of those things on principle. And I usually give a little, tongue lashing to people who try and foist them on me. And I realize it's just the weakness on their part. They didn't want to disappoint their friend when their friend posted something like that. They felt obligated to then repost it on their site so that they wouldn't seem like they're a bad person.
Bad things will happen to you if you don't do this. It's prophesied. Come on. No, I was just kidding this person, and I'm as patriotic as the next guy, and I'm just saying, well, wouldn't it be nice to hold a flag? And it ended up being a positive experience for everybody anyway. But okay, so next little good news and bad news from the county fair reports, please. Fairgrounds.
Okay. Number 9, we requested $7,000 from the Friends of the Fairgrounds to pay for the lighting upgrades in the outdoors. They're just about finished putting the LED lights and all the outside lights from the Pacific Power in. They put shut-off valves on. We got a bill in from Bond that was $7,900. But I heard nothing from Friends of the Fairgrounds about this. I heard through the grapevine they needed more documentation, so I sent the documentation and the bills to them just
Are
last
you
week.
on that group?
No, I couldn't be on there when I was the manager. I had to come off that group.
It's a separate.
No, I know, but they're supposed to be members of the fair board on the.
Linda Bradley is.
I thought there were 2, the president, the chairman of and one other. I think there's supposed to be 2.
Well, there never was an MOU to figure it all out. Never got, and now it's just kind of in chaos, so.
No, that was on you. Together now.
They're trying, from what I can understand from Linda, they're trying to regroup. They did finally have a meeting with.
Oh, did they?
Yes, and you might want to talk to them, just to see where it's going or what's going to happen. They're trying to regroup and start doing something, but I don't know.
Well, I too have called several times and I cannot get through. I leave a message, but I don't get any.
I think
But I did
there's
get a
so
response
much
one time.
going on at the fair, there's so much potential for them to just kind of ride that way. They don't really have to, I mean, they're set up to just
They could,
take
the
advantage
same
of
thing
it.
as everybody else. They can't get anybody to work for.
Yeah.
With Christmas with them. I mean, they could be doing a raffle, they could be doing bingo at the fair, they could be doing lots of things, but they aren't even communicating with them right now, so.
Yeah. But bingo
Bill
at the
actually
fair
came in.
sounds like a no-brainer.
I know. Do I have time to run it?
No, certainly not.
But certainly they could.
Yeah, we would find them space and.
I could do the bingo at the fair right now, in the patio covered food area.
Yes.
That would be a great thing for people to see.
Yeah. And eat and
So, and they were checking.
make some money every time.
They
Whether
were
there's
checking-
3 people out there, you're making money. Jeez.
You know what? I almost didn't catch any of what was going on there after LED lighting. And and I'll just tell you my opinion on that real quick. I remember when I first moved up here, and the little compact fluorescent lights were all the rage, and I started putting those in because they allegedly last longer. I found these things to not last hardly at all, and they cost a whole bunch more. And here I was, they did use less power, but I was replacing them 5 times as often.
And I'm not getting as much light out of them, and they take a little while for them to warm up.
And the color of the lighting was bad and not really suitable for normal indoor use. We're used to the, soft white incandescent, and these compact fluorescents are not that. And then, here's the next wave is the LED. They're tremendously expensive at this point right now. And they're supposed to last forever. I think I'm going to wait for a while until they really do last forever.
That's the tech side of the news. The political side of that news is this group is called Friends of the Fairgrounds. And they've been talking about replacing lights out at the fair grounds for years, right? Because whatever they replace them with, they don't have enough light out there sometimes, and it's not really safe. Okay, I don't mean during the fair, I mean in general. But the Friends of the Fairgrounds insist that you're going to have to give us justification for getting more light. They're the Friends of the Fairgrounds, but they're not acting like it. Who are these people? Well, I'll tell you a couple of them are. One of them is Herb Carter. He used to be on the fair board. He was the guy that was running meetings and then turning up a loud radio so you couldn't hear what they were saying and then leaning forward and talking to the others. He was the one that when the commissioner would leave the room, they'd say, okay, that's the end of the meeting. And then I happened to come back because I left something behind, and they'd restarted the meeting without anyone from the audience or the commissioner there. This is Herb Carter. He was the guy that the county says was writing blank checks. Blank checks. This was the guy that was head of the fair board when the fair board, when the fairgrounds was keeping multiple bank accounts that the county didn't know about. And I'm just telling you the stuff that the county has admitted. So this guy then goes over to Friends of the Fairgrounds. What is Friends of the Fair? One of the first things they did is they raised a whole bunch of money. Oh, we're going to give some money to the fair. Cool. To the fairgrounds. Oh, that's good. Friends of the Fairgrounds. By the way, I said at one of their gatherings, did they give you all the money? Well, no, I don't think so. Well, okay. Did they keep part of the money? Well, I don't know. I don't know. I said, no, what? Wait a minute. What's to stop them from keeping most of the money? Well, we don't know, and we don't ask those kinds of questions. What? You don't ask those kinds of questions?
Which reminds me, I just got a letter today from Friends of Josephine County Search and Rescue. So that's going to make me a little bit apprehensive about their motives, maybe. I wonder if it's the same people.
They are not required to tell you what percentage goes. You've seen this stuff before. I'm not calling it a big scam, but we know this has happened with United Way, for example. Does a lot of nice work, but what percentage actually goes? You know, in some enterprises, Sally Struthers, she's probably not doing that anymore.
Listen, hey, the Clinton Foundation. It's like, you know, some crazy high percentages is sucked up by the function of the organization, and they give, you know, 10 or 15% or something of the money to actual charitable causes.
Now, I don't know. We don't know, and we're not ever going to find out how much Friends of the Fairgrounds or any Friends of some other kind of place, how much they take out for themselves. We don't know. And nobody on the fair board, nobody was even interested in asking that question. Well, we got the money, didn't we? I said, but you don't know if they raised 100,000 and kept 95. You have no idea. Well, we like the 5. I said, yeah, I understand that, but you know,
yes,
they don't know, and they don't ask.
Can't be choosers.
Well, but wait, they're using your name. They're using fairgrounds as a way to gather money. Are you getting a good percentage of that? Well, we don't ask those kinds of questions. We don't ask them. That's where we live. We don't ask those kinds of questions. It doesn't mean you know something bad. So
you mean that I can say that I'm doing this for, you know,
Kittens and Sunshine Foundation.
Kittens and Sunshine, one-legged children, and that's okay. I can go out and raise money that way, and wow, you know, I'm thinking maybe I need a new car coming up here pretty soon.
Well, you're not going to be able to do this fundraising work unless you get around, right? And you got to get around in style.
Exactly. Right. That's good thinking, Dale. Boy, you're made for this kind of stuff.
As Simon Hare pointed out, I can't go to these meetings of these groups in Salem and Washington, D.C. and have them accuse us of not pulling in our fair share, of not dedicating. You know, that's embarrassing. Simon, don't go to the meetings anymore then. And you won't be embarrassed, bud. Yeah, well, I've got political aspirations. I mean, I'm doing this for altruistic. Shut up. There's your start. Cut that kind of stuff, okay? And if you want to participate, give him a call. I'm on the telephone. Oh, ha. He's just on the telephone. They're poor down there. That's what they say when they're looking for money. Okay. Next one, please. Almost done.
The bills have been paid, and we've been making major repairs. The Arts and Crafts building is coming to an end. We just got the second set of brand new countertops put on yesterday. The first set was not installed properly, and it was so bad that when Ryan and I looked at them, we said they need to come off. And Quality Countertops has come back in, and I have to pay for countertop material twice, basically, but they gave
Oh,
us a
really?
deal on both kitchens. They've come in and installed them properly. Yeah, both kitchens. So, and there's
Is there any
still,
salvaging those countertops, the previous ones? I mean,
well, we have them. I think, for right now, I'm just putting them away.
Yes.
After the fair, we'll get them out, see what we can
there's
salvage
other
out of them.
places that may be able to.
And I'll put them on
Smaller
Craigslist or
sizes.
something and put it.
Cut them down or what?
Well, I was thinking
Well,
even
the
if
trouble
the,
is they've got triple sinks in them.
oh,
And
that's
they're
a
not
big
just
hole.
double sinks, it's triple sinks. So
That's a huge hole.
it's a huge hole. But there's a lot of other countertop. I mean, we've got 2 kitchen full of countertops. On the very front, the front counter of the kitchen, we had special ordered 2 countertops. Well, the guy that installed them did a diagonal through the middle of one of them. That's how that was. It was every angle. If you go out there now, you can't even hardly tell where they come together, where they got together. And it was so bad. Everything was filled with something.
Cold person.
Yeah. And it was this far out from the wall, every one of them.
Wow.
They put a molding in the back, which is not, you can't do that for commercial kitchens. So
Yeah.
it all had to come out. When I went in and saw it, I'm going, oh my gosh. Anyway,
Well, and listen, I've worked with the people at Quality Countertops before, so I just want to tell you that this is not a reflection on them. This is, you have the people who are making the countertop up for you, and then you have the people that are installing it, and these are quite often 2 different parties. And and she was talking about gaps behind the backsplash, and them not being joined properly. This is all the people that are putting it together on site, and so I would not jump to conclusion that
Well,
Quality
did you think
Countertop
that
is-
Mary Groves picked the people to install it, or did Quality Countertops pick the people?
Well, and that's a good question. It could be one or the other, because I have been on both sides of that situation. I work a lot with contractors, and you could have either one of those situations take place. I would think that if it were a contractor that Quality Countertops was working with, then it would sort of be partially their responsibility to at least extract a pound of flesh out of those people.
You think?
And make it right.
But who's paying the bill? You heard what she said. The fairgrounds gets to store those now. Oh, that's lovely. And they have to start all over again, and they have to pay for the new countertops. You are paying for the new countertops. We taxpayers are paying for the new countertops. I'm glad that they're going to put them in again. Hopefully they'll pick somebody that can put them in right. But these are really, now we're going to pay twice for the countertops. Why are we paying twice for the countertops, Mike?
Because apparently some incompetent installation, I guess. That seems quite obvious. That's a bummer. It's too bad. It's a reflection on them, because, and I just want to reiterate, I had a number of things done by them where I needed to outfit an office, with countertops, and they've done really good work. And so I think I'm hoping that's a fluke.
Okay. I'm just reporting back. I'm just showing you what happened in this meeting. It's not very often that you hear that there are some parts that aren't working out so well. I'm so glad that they're getting these things. And it's another question about commercial kitchens. With 3 sinks, commercial kitchens at the fairgrounds. Who knew this? Okay, I knew it because I go to the meetings. So because they want to establish commercial kitchens at the fairgrounds, they're going to need to have this stuff done right. It has to be done right.
Yes,
it's not going to pass inspection.
Anywhere where you're selling food for the consumption of the public, you have to have commercial kitchen. Said it has to pass a certain set of standards.
If it's going to be cooked on premises. See, I mean, there's
right.
always food vendors at these places, but they do it in a different way. This was what happened with Quality Countertops. Okay, so that didn't work out so well. Let's look at the next, and I think the last contract here of things that were done. This will be interesting to you.
You have adequate volunteers to drive your little carts around, that kind of stuff.
I think so, but I can always put another person in if you wanted to drive a cart.
Sure, I mean, yeah, sure, I'll look at it.
I think it's really challenging to get through crowds. It's obnoxious to the people who are
If you go
walking.
fast enough.
I'm not suggesting. Yeah. I don't know.
If they're careful and quiet and you
Yeah.
always, talk to people and people get out of the way. There's little kids that run out in front of you and all kinds of things. But if you're going slow, they're electric golf carts, so the gas ones are out in the parking lot. There were gas ones for there.
Okay, that's next to last. Here's Commissioner Heck. He wants to be out there, as he's done in the past, driving one of those golf carts. The only thing is, so it's a commissioner. Maybe I probably am just being a little too careful here, but it's a county commissioner driving a golf cart through crowds where she's saying kids get in the way.
You're worried that he's going to have a seizure and run over a 4-year-old or something?
No, what I'm worried about is that it's possible that some little kids who don't always pay attention and do adults would run out in front, or they'd hit something or somebody or whatever. And there would be some liability on the part of the county because a county commissioner ran over a little kid. Is this really the smartest thing to do so you can be the guy driving the thing? Oh, it's so wonderful he's doing it. Well, there's another side to that.
Oh, I have to believe that the insurance coverage angle has been considered for those little shuttles that they do in the carts.
Yeah,
because I've ridden those before, and so I would assume that they've covered that, and it would cover whoever is driving it, I would assume.
Okay, well, even Simon showed a little reticence about this. Well, I don't know. It's kind of thing like, if you really want to put yourself out there and go do that, okay, but you really should probably keep in mind there's a potential that somebody from the board could be held responsible if something bad happens. It's possible.
Right.
Okay, so I'm being too critical. Okay, this is the last one. Golf carts. Where are they getting all these golf carts? Let's take a look at this, the last part.
And the other thing is, I just want to let you know that the golf carts last year cost me over $4,000, and they came from right here in town. Mm-hmm. The golf carts I have this year are coming from Redmond, and they're only $3,000. So there's something wrong.
Well, I spoke to that guy.
It's the same group.
He was really not happy with maybe the way they were maintained and making sure that the batteries were always charged up and stuff like that.
That's not the case. We actually, John, my husband, washes them every morning, makes sure they're battery charged every night. We have 3 electric ones inside. Mm-hmm. We have one on the charger all the time, so we never let it get below a half.
Yeah.
So he's been saying some things that aren't true.
And you mentioned.
No, I'm just relaying what he said.
He got paid. He did not donate.
Yes.
I can tell you. That was a difference in looking at what other people charged. He got paid very well.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate that they don't have a local vendor that they can do business with.
Well, they can. Now, by the way, I put out of state there. Now, what I did is right after the meeting, I asked Simon, Redmond, is there Redmond, Oregon? Is this Redmond, Washington? And there is a Redmond, but he said, oh, I think that's Redmond, Washington. There is a possibility that he was wrong, but I'm just basing this on him saying that. So I put out of state golf carts. It seems strange that you can import golf carts from such a distance, even from Redmond, Oregon, and bring them in here for a lot less, for three-quarters of the price.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. And listen, how many local golf cart vendors could there possibly be? And if the one guy that you have is not, doesn't have scruples, then what are you going to do? What choice do you have at that point but to consider the money side of it?
Well, you heard him. Simon said that the guy was complaining because they were mistreated and they weren't
poorly maintained, and she contends that they are very well maintained and washed and charged every night and all that kind of stuff. So
by her husband,
right? And you know what? I tend to believe her. I don't think she lies about stuff like that.
No, I don't think so.
So
No, the
and
only
you
time
know,
I ever caught her, and we talked about it a little bit, she had been working with some of the old boys network around here, and they were putting up signs around town when they were trying to get a bunch of money for the fairgrounds. And it was those thermometer signs, right? And I looked at that and I went, oh, that's very strange. It looks like they're halfway to their goal. So I talked to her and she says, no, we're a quarter of the way. I said, but your sign out here looks like halfway. She says, yeah, the people that made the sign for us, they thought this might help. Mary, that's not good. You don't need to do that kind of stuff. Well, I don't know. It was nice of them to do that. And I said, but you don't need to exaggerate. And I named the name of the company. He says, yeah, that's who did it, all right. They're part of the old boys network, and they're used to doing this kind of stuff on a daily basis. They did it about the levy. They do it about all kinds of things. They just exaggerating, even in a good cause. I donated a huge flag to the fairgrounds, and they used it for about a year and a half. Okay. So I had it back from the days when I was making any kind of money, and I was happy to donate it. So there are things that can be done, and you can do it, and you can be honest about it, and you can say, hey, let's be honest with the fair. It's not necessary to do that kind of stuff. Don't succumb to that. I know she wants to work with all these local people, and you're going to have to work with some people that end up as friends of the fairgrounds, supposedly friends, and all the rest of that stuff. But, I just encouraged her to resist the temptation to work with people who are kind of using your system to lie to people. Don't do that. There's no need to do that. Really, there's no need. I like her. So, Mike, what would you say in summary to all of this really important, hard, cutting edge news? Yeah, right.
yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Oh, there's
6 of
good
one,
news. Good
half
news
a
and bad
dozen of the
news.
other.
That's right. That's right. It's not very often that you get a chance to see what's happening on the ground for people who are, well, I'm happy to donate to the fair. Well, that really wasn't a donation. Hey, I'm happy to cut you a really good deal. Well, that really wasn't that good a deal. Well, I'm public spirited. Okay, some people are,
Yeah, but
others aren't
you
as
know
much.
what happens. Whenever when you're dealing with contracts that have to do with government, people think that there's more money there to be had than there is.
It's
But,
coming out of our pockets.
Yes, but they don't. People don't care about that, Dale. I'm sorry to tell you. Don't want to burst your bubble or nothing, but that's what happens.